Make it so!
Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon. Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon. There's no magic for a good blaster.
It's podcast!
Just generic podcast. Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This is Tyler.
And this is Michael.
And it's another episode.
Another one for Podcast Gold. For the gold.
For the gold? Are we competing?
Huh?
Are we
Yeah,
competing?
we're getting gold at the end
I
of this.
did not
don't know.
train.
You didn't sign the
None
thing?
of the other episodes have been part of training. They don't count.
You don't think any of the episodes are...
episodes?
The episodes. You don't think these episodes are worth gold? I think they are. I think
A
it's
gold medal or just
gold.
like...
Golden, baby.
Sure.
I didn't answer your
we're
question.
Golden. You just said a bunch of stuff and just kept talking, so I
It's
let you
gold, baby. We're back for another gold.
do that. Or bronze. I'll take anything.
Any medals.
Just,
We'll take any money whatsoever.
any medal.
Anything. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Anything new? Anything interesting?
Nope.
I heard you try to get your son to build a lightsaber and it went horribly wrong.
All right, I'll tell the story. I told you this already,
Yeah.
but I'll tell it again for content gold. This is my theme.
Is this our submission tape for some contest that I don't know about?
Hey, my name is Michael Henderson, and this is my audition.
This isn't a Kickstarter video.
No, it's like an audition,
I don't
You know
think
when
that's
they
how
do
you
this?
audition for anything,
me do
especially
this.
with those moves.
This visual thing
Yeah.
for the podcast.
Thank
You know
you
how
for
they go.
the visual gags for the
And then one of these,
audio podcast.
and then a lot of this,
yeah.
some of this.
That's, Please don't.
I won't do that again.
Thank you.
Anyway, I tried to get my son to build a lightsaber with me. I took him out.
Not like explain how that works.
Huh? Build
I'm
a
thinking
lightsaber.
people that don't know where you go to build a lightsaber or what that is, and they're
Well,
just like,
yeah,
what the hell is
the
this
lightsaber.
guy's building lightsabers?
That cave.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Don't you ever take your son to that cave?
Yeah. Yeah,
The
the
cave.
cave. It's just a big sign that just says the cave.
The cave.
Just
Blinking.
arrows pointing like 4 miles to the cave.
The cave. Next stop, the cave.
All right, anyways, explain how that works.
Blinking neon signs. A lot of legs.
Legs. That's a different cave.
Well,
So at
the
Disney,
cave.
at Disney World, or probably Disneyland as
Anywhere. Yeah, I don't know where they do it.
well.
Who cares?
Yeah. Go ahead.
We have. What am I trying to say?
Jeez.
My brain just.
At the Disney parks,
Just
as well
shut
as
down.
Disney Springs, which is like an outdoor
Yes.
shopping and stuff area, there's a store where you can go and build a toy lightsaber.
There's
that has
several places,
the lights
yeah.
and sounds, and you build the hilt to look like whatever kind of hilt you want, and pick a color, saber, and all of that.
Yeah, so I take him over to, the little kiosk, and he's been a little backstory. He has told me before that he's been super excited about doing this, and he can't wait to do it. And I've been excited because I've always wanted to do this. Build your own lightsaber, of course. Who wouldn't want to do that?
I have
You have
one
got
from
it.
before I had a son.
You've got one.
Continue.
It's just sitting right there. I'm
Yes.
pointing so everyone in the podcast can see.
Thanks. Everyone look to your
I'm
left.
pointing.
There it is.
Imagine a lightsaber.
Yes.
You've seen one.
Hopefully.
So we get up to the kiosk. I start explaining like all the parts and what they do, and like you can do this and you can make it look like this. And they've got all these examples up of, Qui-Gon's, Obi-Wan's, all these famous lightsabers.
Because you can mix and match parts from
Right.
like various people's lightsabers, because
You
they have
have
like
your-
various rings that go on the hilt like tube.
Right. You have your base hilt, which is just the batteries and the light
Yeah.
and the button. And then you can put, like you're saying, these little connectors over the hilt to make it look like, and style it. And then you can have like double bladed sabers, connectors to attach 2 sabers together and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we get done. It takes a good probably 10 minutes to do all of this. We get done. He's super excited. I'm really excited because I just built my own lightsaber. and he's swinging it around and playing with it. And so we walk probably 5 steps over to another display just to take a look. And he sees the freaking Ezra lightsaber. The stupid one with the gun in it. That I will go on record saying again that I cannot stand anybody in the Rebels show. Any of the main characters. And this is one of the reasons. This just reinforces that. We get up there, he sees the Ezra lightsaber, and he's like, I want this one. And he just kind of doesn't even look at me.
Your son works at a sandwich shop and is also in...
A sandwich shop?
I don't know, he just sounds like someone yelling at a sandwich shop in New York. Why did your son suddenly sound like that?
Sandwich shop.
Like, yeah, I want one of those. Hey, pa!
Come on! No. Sure, yeah. I mean, he's dabbled in sandwiches.
Okay, he's dabbled in the sandwich.
He's
construction.
familiar with a sandwich.
Okay, sure. Aren't we all?
I guess.
We've all had that dream.
Dabbling in sandwiches. Have you ever wanted to dabble in a sandwich?
Have you ever dabbled in a sandwich?
Yeah, well, that's another story.
That's the real question.
You can just get in there.
Just dabble around.
Yeah, just get in there. Just really dabble in that sandwich.
Anyways, your
Anyway.
4-year-old son.
So my 4-year-old son sees this freaking Ezra lightsaber and is like, oh yeah, I want that one. Doesn't even look at me. Hands me this lightsaber we just spent 10 minutes
complete
building.
rejection.
Behind him, just hands me.
Take it away.
Oh, here you go. Take it away, Father. Hands it to me, and it's like I'm holding a dead animal or something. With all this work. I just shuffle back over. So
You could have. You
like, what the
wanted
heck,
to build
man?
one. You could have kept it.
Well,
Have your own lightsaber.
I went back and built my own.
Okay, so you did make your own.
A different one.
Okay, that's
yeah.
good.
Because I had to have one.
That's all that matters.
But that's not the point.
Yeah.
I had one. I got one.
Your son rejected building and customizing his own lightsaber.
That was like a
for
thing. That was like our thing.
Ezra one. And it's not even like the Nerf one that shoots anything, right?
No, it's just
Which
like
I
electronic.
think there's one of those. Don't
I think
quote
so.
me on that.
I think I've seen it.
It just looks like Ezra's and makes the lights and sounds.
It makes the lights and sound. Yeah. This one only makes the lights and sounds.
Yeah.
So
That's sad.
hands me this lightsaber, and I ask him, "Are you sure? Because we are not doing this again. I'm not gonna have you put this back for something else later on." I was like, "Yeah, I really want this." Just like that.
Your son just gets dumber and dumber every time he talks. This is how much you hate what happened.
So much I can't stand my own son.
So he doesn't live with us anymore.
So yeah, so I made him put the lightsaber back.
Made him take it apart.
the one we built.
Yeah.
I
Made
let him
disassemble
keep I let him keep the Ezra lightsaber.
You will experience the destruction of this to buy your crappy pre-built
Ezra lightsaber.
Ugh.
That would be like, to me, in my heart, that was like, I gave him
father-son like transference of knowledge and experience.
That would be like I gave him a Blu-ray copy of Force Awakens. Let's just choose something. So a Blu-ray, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's great." And then
It's getting worse.
and then he walks a bit, and he sees a Jar Jar doll, and he's like, "Oh, I want that." That's what it was like for
And
me.
then you kick him out of your life.
I don't know. That's not a very good comparison.
That's worse.
I can't think of
That one's worse. At least he kept the lightsaber.
I can't think of something better. But anyway,
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
that's my story.
I lament all of that.
Never have children.
The moral of the story is your children will crush your hopes and dreams. Welcome to the show.
The moral is don't get pregnant. So I vow never to get pregnant after this.
Good luck.
Thanks. I'll need it. It's really hard not to get pregnant.
I have no response to that. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
I have no response.
You have no
Like,
pasta? Oh. They said something about pasta.
Maybe we shouldn't have had
I didn't have
a
dinner.
drink before we started the podcast.
I'm really hungry. Can we get this over with so we can eat?
All right, we've got 5 more minutes. This is going to be a really short show. No, so
No, we're really excited to be here. We get to talk about
energy.
Well, Star Wars
Okay.
and energy.
Sure.
We can talk about energy if you want.
There's a question about relating to energy later. kind of.
Energy. That's not, doesn't have
We'll
anything
get
to
there.
do with energy.
We'll get there. So this past, I think it was since the last episode, I had read an article regarding the preserving the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And like protecting it in the hopes of there being a re-release at some future point in time.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Because obviously anyone that doesn't know, there's this person, their username online is Harmy, and they have a despecialized edition of
I'm sure
the
most of you
original
are
trilogy.
familiar with that.
What was that?
Oh, sorry, I had
Yeah,
a
that was
had a
nice.
thing in there.
Thank you.
I said I'm sure most of you are familiar with
You
that.
should be. It's this guy who took copies, like found original print copies, and even collectors had sent him copies of original prints of like laser discs and even film prints of the original trilogy that he then digitally, got them
Restored.
digitally and restored them, and is trying to make like the best,
He did a lot of color correcting.
truest copy of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think A New Hope's on like 2.7 now. I think Empire's on like
it?
1.5 or something.
Okay.
And they're great. But
Did he ever finish Jedi? Do you remember?
Jedi is out as well.
It
But
is
I think
out?
it's still version 1. It might be. It's
Okay.
not version 2. I know that.
I thought Empire was out too.
And those are great. You have to obtain them online via a torrent or something like that. But they're technically a fan recreation or for historical purposes, and it's technically not illegal for those to exist. Because it's not like a direct copy. He's actually put these together from various copies of the films.
Right.
And it's a historical recreation, like a preserving thing.
Right.
Anyways, so I was reading this article that was talking about would we ever get a copy of the original film of the original trilogy again, and something like that. And apparently this contact, take this with a grain of salt. This person who was writing this article, I think it was on a website called Den of Geeks, was talking about they had a contact who said apparently in George Lucas's contract with Fox that it is in the contract that if they find copies of the original trilogy before his special edition,
Yeah, the original
that they
edition.
are to destroy it. It is to be destroyed.
That's crazy.
Like, so I mean, this person supposedly worked with Fox or something like that. Of course, it could. Apparently, the website said they were legitimate as far as they could tell us, but they wanted to be anonymous.
Yeah.
So they didn't say who exactly it was or how they have this information, but supposedly in the contract with Fox that if they find any copies before the special edition of the original trilogy, they are to be destroyed. That sucks. If that's
crazy.
true. I mean, this is all, it's all conjecture.
It's the internet.
But it's the internet. But
So I wonder.
I could see that being a thing that George Lucas
Yeah.
like required of them like to keep rights or something
It's
like
just frustrating and weird enough
that to be George.
to be George. Yeah, to be real. So I wonder now. So now that Disney owns, does Fox still own the distributing rights for the original
I
trilogy?
believe Fox has A New Hope in perpetuity.
Not anything else.
I believe it's just if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I looked all this up because I did like a bunch of research on it once.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think Empire and Jedi still fall under Fox, but they won't eventually. I think they will eventually fall off. But I
Okay.
believe they own the rights to A New Hope in perpetuity. Like there's no
Wow. So
unless they're willing to sell it or something like that. Like
Yeah.
they have the rights to A New Hope forever.
Interesting.
And apparently are supposed to destroy copies of the original copy
you
of it
think
if
that-
they can get a hold of it or find it.
I wonder how that contract works. Do you think that's directly between Fox and George?
Yeah, I don't
Or is
know.
that between Fox and Lucasfilm? Or what? Because I'm wondering if it's still valid. Like,
I believe so.
do you think Fox has a copy?
Has a
of it?
copy like just in case. Well, even if you think about how I think we talked about this maybe last episode, how Gareth Edwards they were doing a tour of Skywalker Ranch, and
Oh, and he
he
found
was like, what are
old
those
archive
film
footage.
tins down there? They're like, oh, that's like B footage from
Yeah.
the original trilogy.
Right,
And he's like, can I look through those,
right.
please? And that's how they had the footage of the X-wing pilots in their cockpits.
Of Gold Leader and Red Leader.
Yeah, like that was archival footage from like stuff they didn't end up using.
Right.
Does even Skywalker, did George not even keep a copy of the original film? Like, is there not an actual film copy
Yeah, I wonder.
still kept by someone that's not a collector?
Yeah.
Like some, because there's these third party people who have provided copies to Harmy and people like that
Right.
to be able to do the recreations or the preservation things. But does a studio or George himself, like, does he hate the original film or love his editions of Ewok eyelids so much that even he wouldn't keep a copy of those?
I definitely think George would not keep a copy of those.
That's crazy to me.
Well, see, well, I don't know.
It's crazy. I mean, even his changing of the films is crazy to me, but that's beside the point.
Do you think he might just have it for like sentimental reasons?
Because you made a damn film that like broke the universe for all time. Like you changed the course of like film and history with a film in 1977, and you don't keep a copy of the original.
Yeah,
you go back and change it with some crappy digital, just like segue shots that aren't even necessary.
The difference between the original edition and the special edition, what do you think is in there that, besides, I mean, the big thing is Han shoots first. That
was changed. Yes.
That was the big deal.
And they added his conversation with Jabba.
Well, and there were some other shots like the Millennium Falcon blasting off from Tatooine. That was added a little later.
Nothing that really
that was added
changed
for like
the
was it the DVD release?
Probably.
Or something like that, or the first online like streaming. I can't remember. Not streaming release.
I mean, there's like a lot of just like little things that were changed for no reason, but the main things are really just the Han shooting first, or now Greedo shooting first, and his conversation with Jabba.
There was that, I remember when Han's chasing that stormtrooper down the Death Star hallway. Mm-hmm. And in the original edition, he ends up in a room with maybe like 20 guys, 20 stormtroopers in it.
Maybe they're like running towards him or coming around the corner or whatever.
Well, do you remember that scene though when he's chasing him and Chewie? So the end
chase him around the corner and they run back because there's like a bunch behind them.
He goes around the corner, and then in the original edition, there were like maybe 20 guys in a room.
Yeah.
In the special edition, it cuts to a room full of like 100 stormtroopers, and there's like a TIE fighter in the background that's just landed.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, just crazy
stuff
amount.
That didn't really change anything.
Right.
But of course, that's his.
That's kind of problematic for me.
That's his copy. That's what he wanted. It's the better version of the film.
Well, what I was trying to say was, what do you think? I'm trying to think, why would he want to hold on to the special edition so much if it was just these little changes?
Oh, because he like went back and perfected them, according to him, and the various
like this is what he
interviews.
wanted
that's
all
what
along.
It should have been originally. So now the original one should not exist anymore because we didn't have the technology to do.
I just don't
extra
understand.
Stormtroopers in a room.
I mean, people have talked about this forever, but
yeah.
I don't understand. Han shoots first. That's
no one. No one ever will.
Why would he
that.
change that to make it where they both shoot at the same
time? This is an argument
time?
as old as Star Wars. Like no one.
Why would that be his perfected?
No one understands.
Especially when he could have just as easily done that originally.
Yes.
Have Greedo and Han shoot each other at the same time.
I don't know if he knew he was going to end up getting to make the other films, and then he needed to make them softer by having Greedo shoot first.
I don't know.
But all of that.
I mean, we didn't come into this episode.
I had never heard of this supposed like clause in his contract of if copies are found, they are to be destroyed.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say we didn't come into this episode ready to talk about that whole thing.
No. I find it very interesting. I'd never heard that before, and I hope that if that is the case, someone's got to have a copy, right? Like George had to have kept one.
I would think that maybe there's got to be a copy somewhere.
With Disney purchasing the film, purchasing Lucasfilm, like there's no way they haven't like since day one been like discussing like, okay, how can we eventually re-release these originally, because that's been asked for the last 20 years. Yeah. Right?
You would think so. Someone would
just so legally screwed that they just like, well, there's nothing we can do, so let's just pump out the new movies and we can't worry about it.
I would imagine that by this point, if they haven't released the original editions, that they don't
probably
have
can't.
them. Yeah, or can't.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because it's been, I mean, we've had how many 2 movies come out now?
Yeah,
It's been 4.
a third already shot.
4
A
years.
fourth about to start shooting.
Was it 4 years since the purchase?
Yeah,
first-
something like that.
3 or 4 years, something like that. But it's been a while. I mean, that's what I would think anyway.
You would think that'd be like the first thing they did, right?
I mean,
Like,
can
we
you
bought this film.
imagine
Here's what you've all been asking for the
every
last
single
forever.
person? I mean, you're guaranteeing every single person who owns Star Wars
Yeah.
on anything would go out and buy that.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one. I still have my untouched, like the unspecial edition VHS copies.
Nice.
It's not like the laser discs or anything like that, but I have the not special edition VHS. Not that I can watch them on anything because I don't even think my TV has a way to hook up a VHS player to
You
it.
can get a VHS player.
But I have the despecialized versions on my computer. So
Right.
I end up watching those because obviously they look a heck of a lot better than a VHS. So I don't have
Even
to turn the tracking up and down to make sure the lines stay still.
I remember even in the despecialized, there are moments. I think it's an Empire. I can't remember where it is, but there are moments where there's just no good copy of a certain scene.
Yeah.
You know, like it'll cut away to some really crappy, you know, badly,
Yeah.
just poorly taken care of footage because the original just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Or at least that they can get a hold of.
Anyways,
So,
that turned into a longer conversation than I wanted it to be. I just thought it was interesting that if that's true, will we ever get
yeah.
a re-release?
Yeah, I don't know.
To happier things that aren't the destruction of Star Wars content. All those rumors of Woody Harrelson being supposedly in the talks to be in the Han Solo film that no one could confirm nor deny.
Were you about to say that no one wants?
Oh, well. It's been confirmed that Woody
Han Solo-
Harrelson has joined the cast of the Han Solo film.
I thought you were saying Han Solo film that no one wants.
Oh, no. I want that.
I want.
Yeah.
I want to go
Why
to
would
there.
no one want that?
I want to.
There
go
actually
to
are
there.
a lot of people, I think, that don't want it. But those are also stupid people.
Is it those?
Anyways.
What about all those white power bros? Don't they want this? There's a white dude in a movie. Finally, it's a movie for them.
Sure. Everyone wants the Obi-Wan trilogy. They don't want Han Solo.
Oh, well,
Like, we want someone who we care about where they came from
Yeah.
or what happened in this one period of time that we're bitching about. Yeah, exactly. So Woody Harrelson's confirmed to be in the Han Solo film now, which I find is cool. And then they go on to say that he was cast as the mentor, like the rough and tumble mentor guy. So he's playing the same character he's played in the last 6 films I've seen him in, which makes me kind of sad.
what's the last 6 films he's been in? I said I was going to do research before the show.
He was in Hunger Games.
I did
He's
not
been
look
in
at
all
that.
of the most of the Hunger Games. And
Was he,
he's Katniss's mentor. And then he was in
Was he a mentor in
Zombie?
that?
Was it Zombieland?
Yeah, he was like a
And
mentor
he's
dude in that.
the zombie mentor man. And
Yeah.
yeah. That's just everything that I picture or see Woody Harrelson
Let's
in.
see,
He's always
let's
playing
see,
the
let's
mentor
see.
to the young 20s-ish.
He played Lyndon B. Johnson.
That's interesting.
Not really a mentor.
Well, to the country.
True Detective. Yeah,
I never watched that.
that wasn't really a mentor in that.
But like thinking of like big pictures, the big films, like
7 Psychopaths. Did you ever see that? That was pretty good.
oh no, I really want to.
I
I don't know. He just
wasn't really
he seems to be
mentoring
like
that.
typecast as the rough and tumble country mentor.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, sort of. Sort of.
Sort of.
He was sort of like that.
Which I saw someone online talking about how he would I don't know how to word this, that it's unlikely, and I think it's highly unlikely this would actually happen, but if he played Hondo Onaka from Rebels
What?
and from Clone Wars, you know, the space
Yeah,
pirate.
the pirate.
Yeah. I would think that would be hilarious. I don't think it would happen, but
There's
I think that
no
would be
way.
hilarious if he played Hondo.
Hondo's
Full makeup, full prosthetics. Hondo Onaka, like space pirate that sounds like the bad guy from Tailspin.
Probably it's Jim Cummings. Did Jim
Yeah,
Cummings
it's
do the voice?
Probably. He was like in every Disney animated anything my entire childhood.
What was the bad guy's name in Tailspin? I can't remember now.
The tiger.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
It's right there. I can't remember. But I thought it would be really funny if, because he has like, you know, his country, his twangy accent, if he went for the
Don Carnage?
Yes.
Yes, it was
Don
Jim
Carnage.
Cummings.
Was it?
Yeah, so it's the same voice.
Maybe that's why I picture it. No, I think it'd be really funny if he was.
That's so great.
If he was Hondo Ohnaka. I doubt. I mean, the timeline probably works out somewhat, unless he dies sometime in Rebels. But I don't see that happening.
By the way, Don Carnage was not a tiger. He was like a dog.
Was he?
Yeah. Don't you remember? Remember he had the blue. This guy with the blue outfit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, see, he's a dog.
It's like a.
It's like a dog.
Fox thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking of Blue.
Not a tiger.
Who was also in Jungle Book. Who the bad guy was a tiger.
That was not Jim Cummings.
So yeah, I doubt that Woody Harrelson's going to be Hondo Ohnaka. He'll probably just be some other rando that we don't know of yet.
You think he'll be an alien? Some kind of alien?
That would be cool, since we haven't had a proper alien.
I don't think they would do that. I don't think so.
With Woody.
Yeah, because this is
Just because it's like a big actor, or
well, mainly because this is the white power movie, so you want to get those white faces in there as much as possible.
I don't know what meetings you've been to recently. I think I am ready to have an alien be front and center in Star Wars, which they're all aliens. I would rather have another species other than human be front and center in a Star Wars movie, right?
Like as a main character?
Yeah, because we have like, oh, here's Biston. He's just like shooting guys in the background, and we don't see him all that much in Rogue One. He doesn't like do anything. Like,
is that the furry dude?
Yeah,
okay.
The little furry dude.
Oh, or not the big furry guy.
Like the one that was shooting the guns on the side of the gunship, like that.
Yeah,
that little furry dude.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the big. Was the big furry dude in Saw's group, or was that? You remember him? The one that looked like a wampa.
The big white furry like.
I don't know what. I never looked up his species.
I
can't
remember his name. Yeah, not him. But yeah, there's not been. I guess Nia Nub was like the last somewhat main-ish character that was front and center.
I mean,
but
sort of. I mean, you've
got obviously Chewbacca. I know before anyone starts yelling at me, I know Chewbacca is a main character.
Whoa,
and he's not a human. Calm down. Put your pants back on. Why'd you take your pants off? I don't. Please. It's not the time.
Why are you taking your pants off in the middle of an argument?
You're ready to fight and just start taking your pants off.
This is your fault, really, not ours.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be taking your pants off in the middle of an argument.
That's your own problem. I mean, if you listen to the podcast with your pants off, I mean, we do the podcast with our pants off.
That's fine. Whatever. Just don't get into an argument with us without your
pants.
Take
your pants off in my face. So, yes, I know Chewbacca, not a human. Got it. All right.
And you're not talking droids.
No.
Okay.
No, because we've had plenty of those as well. But like a main, like, person that speaks basic.
Well, Yoda.
You shut your goddamn mouth, you son of a bitch.
I'm gonna ruin this theory of yours.
No, in the new films, like, okay, so we had like
Jar Jar.
That doesn't count at all, and I don't think that was English. That was just racist slurs.
Boss Nass?
No, he does. He's the same. I'm talking about like a main character, like he's in the film, not just like a side character or other than Chewbacca, like. Having a new alien, or even like a new species, like even Hondo, like that's not something we've seen in a Star Wars film.
Ahsoka? Or
all these new creatures they create in the new films, like they're all background characters or side characters or people we don't care about. That's in a cartoon. I'm talking about like in a film, like a live action, like makeup alien.
This is a very narrow.
I'm just talking about in the movies. So like the main characters of the original trilogy, other than Chewbacca, all human.
We had what?
Chewie doesn't
four
speak basic.
Main characters?
The main characters of the prequels, like all human, because obviously the focus of the story. But like this seems like the one chance we have for there to be a main character that is an alien that could actually be a main character.
All right, well this relates to a question that we got, so let's come back to this.
Sure. Okay. I guess. Maybe.
You know where I'm going?
I think so. I don't know. I think this is the chance, and I think it would be cool. I don't know if they'll do that with Woody Harrelson, but I think that would be cool if they actually did like make a main character as
Nah.
Sorry, you're specious.
Specious?
Son of a bitch.
Hey man, white power, bro.
That's
white power.
That seems like those are the loudest people on the internet. right now.
And everywhere
currently.
else.
Yeah, just the loudest ones are always the assholes.
Hey, when you're loud, you're right.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure. Let's say sure.
Hey, you know, white power. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Sure. What,
It's just white power. I mean, it makes sense. It totally makes sense. If you think about it at all, it totally makes sense.
So Michael's never going to be on the show again. We'll be recruiting. New
Obviously, I'm
co-hosts
joking.
Soon. Yes,
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
What else happened since our last episode? Gareth Edwards on the Rogue One shoots.
Yeah, I
That
was at
article we were reading about.
I was at a Nazi meeting a little while ago, and then we had, what?
Please,
that?
please continue. Let's just dig your hole. Just dig it straight down.
Anyway, Gareth
Yeah, do that.
was talking about how all the footage that they shot for Rogue One, they just shot tons and tons and tons of footage. I don't know if this is where your note was going, but
Sure.
what
was it's?
they just shot? They would have these moments on set.
Well, because it relates to
Where-
in the trailer. There was so much footage in the original trailer that we didn't see in the original film.
Oh,
Like
well,
that
yeah,
iconic
sure, I mean-
shot of Jen standing in that hallway with like the black with the white lights behind her.
Yes.
Like that wasn't in the film.
Right. And there was like the line that Jin also says about something about rebels. You remember
Sure.
the quote?
And Krennic like pointing a gun.
Do you remember the quote?
No. I don't
Wasn't
remember
it-
quotes from trailers at all. Krennic like pointing a gun in like the whatever viewing Death Star room
Yeah.
or whatever wherever they were, the bridge of that ship.
Yeah.
Stuff that just didn't end up in the final film. There was a lot of footage that didn't end up.
Right.
And it was because of where you were going.
Yeah, so I was saying they just shot so much footage for Rogue One, tons and tons of junk, and Gareth would have these moments on set where he would just kind of let the camera run, or they would just shoot just whatever, you know.
Yeah, but like at the end
So-
of the day, I think he called it like indie hour. Where-
Well, but it wasn't even at the end of the day. It was just like they would just have these moments where normally, you know, in between takes, you would just not be
Yeah.
shooting anything, but he would just kind of let the camera run or would go off and just
or if
shoot
they just had an idea,
something.
it was like, hey, just in case, let's try this and do this other thing.
Right.
That's not anything we planned
and
on
not
shooting.
not even just in case, just like, oh,
Just this.
I've got this idea. Let's
Yeah.
just go do it.
Yeah.
You know, because
And
we
it
can.
was in some interview, and he said they called it indie hour, where they just like almost
Sure.
like an indie film, where they were just like, hey, let's just shoot some random stuff that
Right.
you know, this dialogue or this scene that
Right.
maybe it'll fit in, maybe it won't, but we're just gonna have fun and
Right.
shoot stuff.
So that shot in the trailer of Jin, where she's standing in that hallway and the lights shut off, he was saying, I'm sure a lot of you guys have read the article, but he was saying that she was walking between sets, I think, and she walked through this tunnel that they had constructed, or as a set piece or something. I don't know what exactly it was, but she walked through it and they were testing the lights, and somebody called her name and she turned around just as they were bringing the lights down, and Gareth just thought it looked so cool that he just is like, come on, let's get the camera, let's try this. And they did a couple takes and got that shot.
Yeah, just cause.
Right.
Just-
So there was all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it was just kind of cool to hear, like, that's how they ran that set.
yeah,
And that's how they were able to get just some of these really cool
which is what
shots.
John Boyega has said a lot about with episode 8 as well, with how Ryan
That Ryan's
Johnson's
doing.
directing it. How he said it feels like shooting an indie film,
Which
like,
is really exciting to hear
yes,
that.
where he said
That's
just
gonna be
everything
really cool.
feels like an indie film. Like
Yeah.
Ryan is just so like involved, and
Yeah.
not to say JJ wasn't, but it just he said it feels, it doesn't feel as big as it actually is,
Yes.
which is interesting.
Yeah. I think that'll be really cool because of, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, but this movie, episode 8, well, I guess it was kind of Ryan's idea to have this, but episode 8 is going to be about basically throwing terrible things at all these new characters and seeing how they deal with it. Like, it's
Yeah.
going to really dig into
Really building the characters,
who they are, how
like,
they
this
handle
is how they
things.
respond to
Yes.
this stuff happening.
Right. So, yeah. So that's really exciting to hear that it's going to be a very, like, close. You're going to feel close to the characters. It'll
I mean,
be
obviously, though, I think we've talked
Very
about this
grounded
as well,
movie.
where the main story is really still focusing on Luke and Rey and
Yeah.
like the Force, but
Yeah.
I saw stuff happening on the internet as well. People were talking like, so what's the point of Finn now? You know, like what's his story? What's he involved in?
Yeah.
And I thought about it for a while, and it's just like Rey. It's a story of his storyline is of belonging. I'm sure he's gonna come back from this coma, and like no one's probably gonna want him there because he's a stormtrooper.
Right.
Like he's probably gonna be like shuffled off to some team that
That's
has
what I
to
was
go
saying.
like do stuff.
Yeah, several episodes
and
ago.
like no one on that team probably wants him to be there.
Right.
And
He's
maybe
gonna,
what's her name? Tran is her last name.
Kelly Marie
Tran. Like because we know she's more involved. You know, maybe she like feels for him or takes him under her wing to be like, you know, don't listen to them or whatever.
Right,
but
right.
like it's really about him like finding his place now because he didn't want to fight and now he's going to fight, and it's no one really wants him to be there because he was the bad guy.
Yeah.
And like no one feels like they can trust him, and he almost needs to like
Right.
prove himself or find out what he even wants to do with this now.
Right. That's exactly what I was saying a couple episodes ago, several episodes ago, that he's going to wake up and he's going to feel useless. He's going to feel like he...
And not just useless, like probably most people there are not going to want him to be there anymore. Like, all right, we made you better. Please leave.
He's
You're
gonna
a
have to-
stormtrooper. Yes, you helped, but we don't want you here anymore. Like,
And,
I can see that happening.
And I'll say this again. I said this a while ago, that he's going to wake up and feel like he's going to remember his kind of journey that he had in 7, where, you know, at first he was like all committed to the First Order, and then he had this moment of, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then he tried to escape, but then he was like all about escape. He didn't want to actually help.
It wasn't about helping. It was just
He
about
just wanted to
getting
get
out.
away
Yeah.
for himself.
Yes.
So, and then he kind of, you know, he turned around and came back, but I think he's going to wake up and remember that and have that struggle, that internal struggle of, what's my deal now? Like, what do I...
It's like in Rogue One, like finding that cause that you're fighting for. Like he doesn't really have anything to be fighting for yet.
Because all he really
right
wanted
now.
to do was get away from the First Order. Well, now he's got away, so what's his
now?
purpose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So-
that will be interesting.
Yeah,
And
that'll be cool.
I'm very excited for Rian Johnson to be
Yes.
making one. I love...
And we're going to
his
see
films.
footage probably in April.
Yes, I saw some stuff going around the internet about that with people bitching about when we're getting a trailer. Why aren't we getting a trailer? And
Yeah, that's stupid.
Kathleen was like, you know, we're going to let Rogue One breathe, you idiots.
Right.
And
And I saw you were saying this on Twitter. Like, of course we're going to wait until Celebration to see footage. Why would we have that before then?
First off, just event-wise, the only other thing happening before April is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I doubt that doesn't make sense to me to have any sort of teaser in the Super Bowl.
I don't think so.
They have other movies coming out. That's more of like a Marvel trailer
Maybe.
zone to
Yeah.
me. I don't know.
Justice League, we'll probably see something like that,
Yeah,
maybe.
probably. But yeah, I mean, just like they did for Rogue One, like the first thing that's going to happen trailer-wise is probably going to be a Celebration.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a teaser or something like that. It may not be a full-blown trailer.
We'll probably
but
get the title.
I doubt there will be anything before Celebration.
Yeah.
If we got a title, that would also be awesome.
I think we would.
Because people are like, why don't we have that yet either? And
I think we'll have a title.
slow, yeah.
Yeah. Because that'll be about mid-year, you know, enough
Yeah.
to keep that hype train going.
Just as soon as Rogue One hype falls off because it's been out for 4 months.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, here's some more stuff.
I
Continue
wonder
the
if
train.
we'll have the Blu-ray available to buy at Celebration for Rogue One. Because that's about the time when that'll come
if it
out,
came
right?
out December. I would expect March to April, something
Yeah.
around there. Yeah,
I think
that
it's
would
going
make
to be
sense.
April.
It's usually about 3 to 4 months.
That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be really cool.
Anyways,
Anyways,
there
there were some episode 7 rumory things. Nothing like groundbreaking. 8. Sorry,
7.
Episode 7 was already many years ago. Episode 8. So Kylo Ren's apparently going to have his own ship now. Not
He's got the shuttle.
not the shuttle, but more of his own, like Darth Vader's TIE fighter. Like he's going to have his own
That could be cool.
sort of TIE fighter, Darth Vader-esque, again, copying Grandpa. Apparently, the rumor is, according to information that was sent to Making Star Wars, that if you remember the ships from the TIE fighters from Rogue One that you got a couple shots of that were like this weird it was like a bullet. Like it was really sleek and it didn't have the two wings on the outside like a regular TIE fighter. Do you remember seeing those flying around Scarif?
Oh, the TIE Striker.
Yeah, the Striker.
Yeah.
They said they said it kind of reminded them of like a mix.
I thought you were talking
between,
about like concept art or something
No.
from 7.
They said it seemed like a mix between like Darth Vader's TIE fighter and like a Striker. Like
okay.
more sleek.
Yeah. Okay.
His like own little TIE fighter.
Oh, baby's first TIE fighter.
Of course, he's gonna have a new costume we discussed a long time ago. But yeah, his own
New
personal,
costume?
His own, like he's gonna have a cape now, supposedly.
Okay.
Like Darth Vader-esque cape.
The helmet's not going to
Like
change.
no, like his main costume. Like there's probably gonna be tweaks, just like there are gonna be with the Stormtrooper helmets.
Sure.
But even like there were tweaks with Darth Vader's costumes from New Hope to Empire.
Sure.
But like he's gonna have more like a Darth Vader-esque cape, supposedly.
Nice.
But yeah, it said the fuselage of the TIE fighters like pill shaped like the TIE Striker in Rogue One.
Nice.
It's kind of familiar, like the First Order TIE Advanced.
Sweet.
And then and it's supposedly that there's a First Order TIE Bomber Lego set coming out as well, which means we'll get some TIE bombers probably.
What does the new First Order TIE Advance look like? Have we seen that yet?
The TIE Advanced looks like.
Well, I know what the TIE Advance look like. Do we know what the First Order one looks like?
I'm trying
Do
to
we know
recall.
that?
I can't off the top of my head describe it.
I bet it's just
Because
like
the
the normal
TIE
TIE
Advanced
Advance.
was basically Vader's, right?
Well, yeah, it was that one. It had a
wings are
hyperdrive. It had
curved.
shields. Yeah, it had the curved wings. It looked like a bomber just with a single
Yeah.
pod.
I'm
instead of
assuming it's like that. I can't picture it for some reason because the main TIE fighters were so.
I'm looking at
plastic
yeah,
everywhere.
okay. It's about the same thing, it looks like.
Yeah. So
Unless, well, this is just a render, I guess.
just tidbits of Kylo
Yeah, we'll
information is all we've got for episode 8. And
It's interesting.
anytime recently.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a reason to have his own little personal shuttle for whatever reason.
All right, good for him.
Yeah.
A little ship
you
to fly
think-
around in.
This just hit me. Do you think we will see Vader's castle in 8? But
Didn't we talk about this already?
maybe. We
might
talked
have
about
talked-
Vader's castle. Do you
I
think
can't remember
will
if we
see
talked
it
about this
in-
on the
Do you think
episode
we
or
will
not.
see it in the new trilogy? Again. Like the fact that they
Yeah, did we-
decided
I
to show
could've
it and
sworn we
decided to
talked
have
about
it in
this.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
I don't know if we discussed seeing it in the future. We discussed wanting more information about it. But now that I'm thinking about it, do you think Kylo Ren
Yeah,
will
because I remember
have it?
thinking, and I don't remember if we talked about this on an episode or not, but if there's, it all depends on who knew about the
Who knew
castle.
about the castle. Yeah.
I mean, Vader had his acolytes and stuff that looked like they were there.
Yeah.
He had some guards that were there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure, I mean, if he could have found Vader's helmet, possibly even Vader's crystal, if that's what is in his lightsaber. I mean, that's what we're assuming it is.
Yeah.
But if he could have found that stuff, I would assume that the same acolytes that
Which I'm assuming are
found
the
that
acolytes
stuff
of the
in the
Beyond-
books.
Acolytes of the Beyond from the
Yeah, those
Aftermath
guys.
series.
I'm pretty sure that those guys would have found his castle too. I mean, it's the place where he became Vader.
Yeah.
Which, granted,
We assume
Palpatine is the only
mean,
person who knows about
it's
that.
the assumption that it's on
Palpatine
Mustafar.
and Obi-Wan. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty sure it's Mustafar.
there's no confirmation that I know of yet that it's on Mustafar, but it makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I would assume that someone had found it. So
Yeah.
I would really, really like to see it
See it in episode 8.
Yeah,
That would be really cool.
yeah. To see, I don't know, even just like Kylo finding it, or I mean, not even living there, because that might be a little tacky.
Him living
But-
there, him being there.
Yeah, like if he was, that was
Douching up
his
the
own.
place.
Yeah,
Being all
Yeah.
emo.
yeah, you know, stinking up the bathrooms and stuff.
Chip bags on the floor and his Vader posters on the wall. And
Emo Vader posters, a lot of like red paint stripes on it, and you know, emo.
I picture him like actually like painting, like slinging paint at a wall, like yelling, like "I'll never be as good as you." Ah!
He's got this giant room with this big canvas on the wall.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
goes in and just does a
And then he like dances it out.
interpretive
Yeah.
paint dancing.
He paints and then he just dances it out. And then he just falls on the ground and cries.
He's a maniac.
Yes, it turns into Flashdance and then he dumps red paint on himself.
And it's not just like it never does before.
Thank you. Yeah. That would be...
I'd
I
like to
can't
see that.
unpicture that now. I will
He's
forever...
a maniac.
He's just like twirling around with his lightsaber. He's
lightsaber?
dancing. Yeah. I don't... It's like he's doing like a floor gymnastics routine with a ribbon, but with his lightsaber. He's like spinning it and throwing it and catching it and sliding across the floor on his knees. Yeah, that's exactly what I picture. But it's
Oh my gosh.
it's in that room from Rogue One with the tube, the back to the tube in it, and he's just like running around the circle.
Yeah.
Dancing up and down the steps. I don't know.
But he's like doing that run where both his arms are behind him and
Yeah.
he's just running like high kicks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I pictured.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes.
On a less less hilarious note, there was all, of course, Carrie Fisher died and it was super horrible, and then of course everyone gave it about 3 days and started bitching about what are you gonna do in the films with her now, because no one has any sense of pride or
Is she gonna be a Tupac
Space.
hologram?
it's just gonna be Tupac now.
With buns.
Space Tupac. So everyone's like, what are you gonna do, digital recreation, or what's gonna happen, and we don't understand space.
Yeah.
In
Didn't
a
it
surprising
go from
move,
are you gonna do digital recreation to stop doing the digital recreation? I
Pretty
can't believe
much.
you're gonna do
Like,
it.
Everyone just started freaking out all at once. Don't do it. Yes, do it. What are you doing? And no one had any sense of.
Look at this pencil.
I'm hungry. There was all kinds of stuff going around. I don't know. It was a confusing time for everyone. But in a
Sounds like the
surprising
70s.
move,
It sounds like the 70s.
yeah, it was a
All kinds of
surprising-
stuff going around.
That was a different time.
And
In
the
a
other thing
surprising
you said-
move by StarWars.com, I did not expect them to actually put out an official statement on it, because that's not something that would usually even be addressed before. But
they
I think
did,
it
which
got
was
to
really
the point. I think it got to the point where we have to say something,
Yeah.
but also that they care enough to say something,
Yeah.
which I think is cool.
Yeah.
Where they basically said we don't usually respond to fans or press speculation or rumors or anything, but we want to address this, and Lucasfilm has no plans. This is the exact quote. Lucasfilm has no plans to digitally recreate Carrie Fisher's performance as Princess or General Leia Organa.
Sweet.
Carrie Fisher is, and always will be a part of the Lucasfilm family. She was our princess, our general, and more importantly, our friend.
Yeah, so that's really
And
really
we will,
cool
we
that
will always
they-
strive to honor everything she gave to Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I think it was very cool that they came out and said, hey, we have no plans. What she did is what she did. And,
right, because there was that.
And that's going to be that 2 years is too soon.
Yes,
anyways.
definitely. Yeah.
Cushing's been dead for 10, 12 years.
It's been longer than that, right?
It's
Again,
been
something I could have
at
looked
least
up
10 years
before
since Peter
we
Cushing
recorded.
died, which that's some decent space. But 2
He
years
died in
is a-
'94.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
it's been a long time. It's been
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, so I mean,
Over 20 years.
Obviously, that's different than waiting 2 years after someone's passed to digitally recreate them in a film.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say her storyline didn't already end in 8 with what she did film, and there's no reason to have to digitally recreate her in 9.
There was that rumor going around saying that she had a big role in 8 and 9,
Yes, it
but I
was.
don't know how true that was.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not even ready to speculate on her role yet, because I think that's tacky.
Yeah.
But I think it was very cool of them to come out and say something.
Yeah. Bottom
And-
line, she's not going to be recreated, which I think is a excellent
which is a classy
decision.
move, but it's also classier to me that they cared enough to say something and address
Yes.
shut up. It's been not even a month yet,
Yeah.
and no, we're not doing it.
Right.
Just stop, everyone. Just
Yeah,
stop.
because there was that. I was going to say there was that meeting of the minds, the brain trust.
Yeah, they had a big
After she
meeting
died.
with the story group to be
With,
like, all right,
with all the
what's
directors.
going on?
I don't know if JJ was there, but Yeah, like Ryan was there, Colin was there,
Yeah.
Pablo,
The whole story
the
group.
other lady, I forget her name, one of the head story group people at Lucasfilm. Gary Whitta, you know, all the
Kathleen,
writers,
like
the
everybody was
Kasdan,
part of it.
Lawrence Kasdan was there. Yeah, all these, you know, these big hitters.
Which I doubt you would have to have a meeting like that.
Heavy
if-
hitters, big hitters. What are those two?
Big, heavy.
I don't
hitters.
understand baseball, so
Who knows? No
apparently
one-
the ball's big, heavy.
Sure. Why not?
That's the one where you roll it, and there's
Yeah.
the pins. That's baseball, right?
Yes, exactly. There's the pins are the base.
Yeah, and you have to hit all the bases.
You have to base the ball.
Yeah.
Like, so you roll the ball,
Right.
and it gets to the base.
I've heard
and
you
then-
have to hit all the bases, so you just roll the ball, you hit all the bases,
Exactly.
and then it's
And it's touchdown.
you yeah, and then it's like home
ball.
home balls.
Yep. So yeah,
Four
they had that-
home balls.
They had that big meeting, which is also, I mean, I doubt you'd have to have a big meeting if you didn't need to try and figure out a plan for something.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what happens,
Bottom line, the plan is to not recreate her,
which is
so,
great. Good to know, everyone.
Great.
Convors?
Oh, do we have to talk about that now?
just yelling that and be like, nope, okay. Fine.
All right, here's the deal. We have 20 minutes if we
Yes.
want to end at an hour.
When do we ever end at an hour, Michael?
Nah, we don't.
That's
Let's
right.
get to our questions first before we talk about that,
All right.
because we can talk about that really quick.
So, first off, if you have any questions, comments, spicy tandoori recipes, please send them to asklobot@hokeyreligion.com.
Is that a Star Wars thing?
Nope.
Tandoori.
It's just Indian food.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Thank you. Thanks for checking. Our
Hey, Tyler, can I talk to you for a second real quick?
yeah, sure. Come over here. What's
So, tandoori, that's not a Star
It's a
Wars
spice
thing. It's a spice.
from India.
Okay.
I'm
It's
pretty
not
sure.
It's not a
I
meal.
hope I'm not wrong.
Are you sure?
I'm being super racist.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's from India.
India.
Or some kind of maybe Africa. It's you're starting to confuse me now. I'm not sure.
That's two different places.
It's very different.
Okay.
Let's short. Okay.
Okay.
Break. So, if you do have those questions, send them to asklobot@hokeyreligion.com, and we will try to incorporate
Sorry about
them
that
into
big
an episode.
silence there, I'm
Yeah, it was
sure.
a weird silence. Hopefully, you didn't hear our scuffle.
No.
So thanks to our listener Nathan D for sending a couple questions.
We don't know your last name.
D.
You're Nathan D everywhere.
We have a couple Nathan Ds that are involved in our podcast. Maybe you're the same person as the other Nathan D, or maybe he just has like a lot of different emails just to confuse us. It's like this guy really hates us so much that he just has like a bunch of emails and like downloads it a bunch of times. Like, I'll fool them by pretending to enjoy this.
Hey, joke's on you. To us, it seems like you actually enjoy it. So,
Thanks.
thanks a lot.
Sent a couple questions, which thanks because no one else did. So, do you think?
Hey, screw you, everybody. Get lost. Never listen to never listen again.
Yeah. So thanks, Nathan, for filling up all of the space.
The one
First
slot.
question.
Thanks for filling our slot. Our one slot.
Our mail slot. Question number 1. Do you think you can cook with a lightsaber? So you're disgusted with this question?
No.
Ugh. Next.
Still thinking about mail slot. Jeez. It's really bad.
You're welcome.
All right, what
yes,
was the
I think
question?
you can cook with a lightsaber.
All right, come
Next
on.
question.
All right, no, hold on. You need to talk about this. All right,
Okay, you can't like...
let's start
Can't
by
just, like-
naming all
so-
the things that you can cook with. You got your pans. You got
Fire.
fire.
Yeah.
You got ovens.
Sure.
You got your microwaves.
So let's go with X-ray. Let's go with rays, electricity, and
heat.
combustion.
Heat.
Sure.
But
You can combust.
what do
things.
all of these things have in common that a lightsaber does not? A flat surface.
Well, so
How?
yes.
So let's think about this logistically.
How close can you get your hand
You
to a
have
lightsaber before
a
burning
thing.
your hand?
Okay, well that's a different question. Let
No,
me finish.
this-
Let me finish my premise first before we get into this. So you have a thing. A pie.
Sure.
I don't know.
Space pie, go.
Space pie. So you got your space pie
I like you do.
with your space ingredients and your space crust.
Space custard. We
Yeah,
know.
space custard.
pie.
You know.
Move on.
Yeah, we all know the ingredients to space pie.
Yeah.
Then you've got a lightsaber. You turn the lightsaber on. Now what?
Now,
Just
I don't...
right in the pie?
No, I don't think you can cook pies with a lightsaber. I'm not saying you can cook anything with a lightsaber.
Where were you going with this?
You could cook a large piece of meat.
How?
Just slice it. It's cooked. All you have to do is cut it up and it's
That's
cooked.
searing it. That's not cooking it.
That's all it's gotta be.
No, you take a steak and if you sear it, it doesn't mean the inside's cooked.
Do you eat your steak well done?
No. But you don't just sear it. That's
Yeah,
it.
you do.
No, you don't.
If you have a rare steak, it's just seared.
You don't leave
Pretty
it all.
much.
You don't leave it completely uncooked in the middle.
It wouldn't be.
It would.
How thick are your slices? Because if you're cutting it into cubes...
Well, it's not
and cut
roast
on
beef
each side-
slices.
If you cut it on each side and make cubes, it cooks it enough in...
Cubes? Are we talking
Yeah.
about cubes?
Yeah, so you basically just buy a raw steak and then just cut it up into cubes with a lightsaber.
You're not answering
and
how
they cook
thick
each
it is.
other.
How thick is it? Like what? An inch
Well, see,
maybe?
I'm assuming you're losing like a good inch and a half of steak when you cut through it, so it's got to be giant, right? Just like a whole cow. Just slice up a whole
Okay.
cow.
Let's say you got a whole dead cow in front of you.
It doesn't have to be dead.
Okay.
Continue.
You've got a whole cow in front of
Either
you.
way, there's meat.
So
You just cut it
Now
into
what?
like 2-inch cubes.
I don't know
It
how you
sears
cut
on
a-
both sides. It's all
I don't know how you cut a cow. I've never cut a cow before. So.
into chunks. The end.
Chunks of steak? How are you eating your steak?
Do you just stab your whole steak with a fork and then hold it up and then just bite it off like a giant steak
Yes,
lollipop?
you stab it, hold it up, and swing it around a little, and then you throw it at the person across from you.
You put the
That's
fork in
how
your
you
hands
eat
and you
steak.
spin it in a circle while biting all the edges until you get to the middle. I don't...
That's how you eat steak. I don't know what your problem is.
Well, in my family's tradition, we cut it into square pieces and then eat those pieces.
So wait, you're saying you're cutting the raw steak into a piece and then taking the lightsaber and like
No.
searing
You
the.
cut it with the lightsaber so that it is then cooked by cutting.
Then you're just searing the two edges that you're touching.
Yes.
But that doesn't cook the inside.
How large of chunks of steak do you eat? Because if you cut it into like a 2-inch cube, it would sear it enough through both sides to be fully
Okay,
cooked.
so let's say you have a whole raw piece of steak. Are you cutting just one cut, or are you doing multiple cuts for that piece?
Multiple cuts. So it would be seared on at least 2 of 4 sides.
Okay, so you're taking the lightsaber and cutting
Yes.
it into multiple pieces before you consume any of it.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right.
How small can you make a lightsaber? Can we have just a knife, like a butter knife sized lightsaber? Because that would be really convenient for cooking.
Can you dial the thickness of the blade?
And just like length, and you just have this giant handle with just like a 3-inch little tiny blade cutting food with it.
That might work. All right,
Could you-
I'm on board for cutting it into multiple pieces and then eating it.
Yes.
I'm
okay,
not on board, for the record,
good. Space pie.
for space.
Okay.
No, I'm always on board for space. No, just cutting a piece and then immediately putting it in your mouth.
No.
That does not cook it.
No.
It
You'd
just
have to-
sears the
you'd
edge.
have to cut it into all of the pieces and then eat it.
Maybe that might work.
But again, back to my question: how close can your hand get to a lightsaber before it's too hot for your hand to be that close?
I think there is no heat at all.
Really?
I think because there's that
Because it's a laser, because it's light.
yes, and there's that magnetic. Well, I mean, nobody knows how a lightsaber works, but anyway,
We don't, so just move past it.
I just don't talk about it.
Okay, go.
I think there's a magnetic like energy field around
Yeah,
the
so
actual
there's no
piece of
heat.
energy, the blade of energy.
So there's no heat unless cut.
that forms it into a, or the energy coming out of a saber. There's a magnetic field around it that forms it into a blade.
Yeah, it has to limit it to.
So yeah, I think
Some
you can
length.
get right next to it, and there'd be absolutely no heat. Now, if you stuck your hand into the energy, it's gonna burn it.
Maybe that's. Because I'm thinking now of Kylo Ren's lightsaber, but those are exhaust ports, so those are hot.
Were they?
Because he was like getting him up close to Finn's shoulder, and Finn was like, before it even cut into him.
But that was
But those are like those.
that
those
was
are
like
like
shooting raw
those are like
energy into
exhaust.
it.
Those are exhaust
Yeah.
ports, so that doesn't count.
Well, I
Interesting.
don't know. Not just
If
exhaust.
there is heat coming off a lightsaber, you would have to put the pie on some kind of rack and then just slowly wave it back and forth under the pie to cook it.
Yes,
from the bottom.
That's one way to do it. But there's no heat off a lightsaber.
If there's not, then yeah, your space pie,
No.
you're screwed. You just gotta
There's
eat
no
raw
heat.
space pie.
Yeah, and the ports on Kylo's, they weren't exhaust ports like on your car.
No, they were energy exhaust. Like it was just like venting energy out
Right.
because it couldn't contain it properly.
It's right. It's not like byproduct of turning the lightsaber on. It's just the actual
It's
energy.
just his lightsaber was shitty, and
Yeah.
it had to do that. Yeah.
Right.
So he could cook things with his lightsaber.
I don't think so. I think it would be just like slicing something with those exhaust ports.
Those
Because
don't put
those
off
are-
heat?
No. I don't think so.
I
It's
disagree.
just
When
raw
he got close to
energy.
Finn's shoulder, it was all Finn was like before it even cut into him. He was like freaking out because it was hot.
Well, because
I
it's shooting
figured.
energy into him.
Before it even cut him, he was freaking out. Maybe just because it was getting close, but it could also have been heat. I say there's heat on those ports. I firmly believe there's heat on the ports.
That is my promise to you. That was a terrible JFK.
Yeah, it is. So yes, I think
There's no heat.
the easiest way to cook with a lightsaber would be just to cut giant slabs of meat into cubes. There would be a high percentage of
Maybe.
meat lost just from the cut because it would just burn like 2 inches of meat away.
See, I
Right?
don't get that part. Why would it burn the meat away? What?
Would it not? Does it not just disintegrate what it's touching?
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
when you cut
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
meat,
yeah.
you just lose
Well,
that chunk of meat that you touch.
if you can dial it down to the little
yes,
knife
if you
size.
make a tiny butter knife, yeah,
Yes,
we're good. Yeah, fine,
right.
sure.
Yeah.
So can you cook with a lightsaber? Somewhat.
Maybe. Next
Confirmed.
question. Confirmed.
How much wood could a Wookiee chuck
Make
if a
it
Wookiee
so.
could chuck wood?
What? What's the next one? What?
How much wood could a Wookiee chuck if a Wookiee could chuck wood? Now the problem with this question is it's offensive
that-
to Wookiees because they live in a freaking forest planet and like
Okay.
love forest wildlife and they would never chuck wood.
Here's my problem with
This
this
is
question.
insensitive.
Here's my problem with this question.
Sure.
You're taking it too literally.
Nope, that's my job.
We had no requirement to come
I
up.
need to give the facts. Wookiees would never chuck wood. They respect it and they live in it and they coexist and this is insensitive to Wookiees.
Okay. Here's my
Anyways,
problem.
get to your jokes.
Your stupid words. We never said that you have to come up with 3 questions.
No, that was his choice. We are choosing to go through all 3
And
of them.
this is definitely like the I can't think of 3 questions. Here's an extra question deal.
I felt it was insensitive enough that I had to touch on it.
I found it.
I had to touch.
Shivery.
I had to touch it. So that question is insensitive
So-
to Wookiees. If you bring it up again, you'll be
Short-
fired from listening.
So short answer.
No.
Don't ask questions.
No. Third question. If Disney gave you the reins to a Star Wars film, what would you make?
I had a point about this earlier, but I can't remember what it was.
I was talking about the aliens being a main character. I assume this is the question you were saying. We'll get to that later.
Oh yeah, I want to see a Hondo film.
Just Hondo?
Yeah, but that's just the first idea I could think of, so maybe.
That was just the laziest thing that just shot into my head. So
No,
whatever.
well, I mean, that would be fun, but I'm trying to think of if I was to make a Star Wars movie, would it be a movie about a Star Wars alien?
Sure.
Jar Jar.
No. Oh, leave.
All right, I don't want to see a Yoda movie. Don't really care about Yoda's origin story for some reason. I don't
Yes.
know. I don't think that can make a good movie. Not Hondo. That was a joke. Not Jar Jar, because that was a joke.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what.
The problem is the film that I would want to make is already being made in the Han Solo film. Like
I thought you were saying Obi-Wan. You wanted an Obi-Wan movie.
that would be cool. That's not what I want the most. I want to. Well, we'll see what happens with the Han Solo film, but I want the Han Solo film that has the backstory of him being a part of the Empire
Yeah.
and freeing Chewbacca, and then I want some story with Lando and Lobot, and maybe Lobot becoming Lobot. Otherwise, yes, I think it would be super cool because even Ewan McGregor really wants to come back and be Obi-Wan again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So by
sure.
all means, he wants to do it. Everyone's asking for it. Sure. I don't know if I need a trilogy film.
Yeah.
People were asking for a Obi-Wan trilogy. I don't know if I need that. But maybe just like a what crazy stuff happened while after the end of episode 3.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Um,
Here's what I would want. I would want, maybe this is kind of predictable, but I would want an Old Republic movie. Something that was far enough back.
Like back with the war that turned the Jedis into being dicks and all strict about everything?
Yes. That's exactly where I was going with that,
Yeah.
actually. Was, back before the Jedi were dicks, I guess you could put it that way.
Well, the Jedi were dicks.
But yeah, there's a lot of, especially with the Force, there's a lot of lore there with the Force that
Like
would be
about,
really
like,
fun.
misuse, and like that's the reason the Jedis like became so strict and like controlling. With something that happened back then.
Well, I don't know about that. That's not where I was going with it anyway. It more just, I feel like maybe that is kind of related. I feel like the Force was more open back then. Like for some reason it was less controlled, less, I don't know, what am I trying to say here?
They were, well, I mean, like, again, the Jedi became super strict and like, we're gonna teach you younglings in our ivory tower, and you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do this, and you can't marry, and don't touch yourself. And they have all these strict rules, like, because of something that happened. Like,
is that why you think?
I believe so.
I think
it had to do with whatever warring over the Force that happened back in the.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't really have canon on that anymore.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all EU now, but do you remember XR Kun?
Yes.
He was in those series with the Sun Crusher.
Yeah.
What was that series called? Was it
you're
the
talking
Jedi
about,
Academy series?
I don't remember.
Anyway, back before this whole thing happened, I was really into XR Kun. Like, this was back before episode 1 came out.
Yeah.
And he was the first guy, according to all the EU books and stuff, he was the first guy to have a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yes.
So when I saw Darth Maul for the first time, I thought, this is XR Kun. Like, they're bringing him from the EU into, but obviously it wasn't. But he was a Jedi Knight that fell to the dark side after he killed his master, Vodo Boss or something like that. It was something, I think that was his name, Vodo Boss. But his story, like it was kind of that sort of story where he was tired of the Jedi being such dicks about the Force and started to explore more about it, and almost like what Palpatine did, where he studied both sides.
Yeah.
And then just became more and more in love with the dark side and became this terrible, evil guy. And then eventually was resurrected as a ghost on, was it Yavin, I think? Wherever that novel took place. The Jedi Academy series, I think it was. Yeah. Anyway, his character was always super, super interesting to me. Read the Jedi Academy books if you get a chance. Those are really good books. None of it matters anymore, but
of course.
but they're still really good books,
Yeah,
I think. I read an article recently that said they were the worst Star Wars books ever written. But I disagree.
I think dropping a moon on Chewie was worse, but okay, sure.
What?
That's how Chewie died. They basically dropped a moon on him.
A moon?
Yeah, like crashed into a thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. That's how Chewbacca got killed. We don't talk about it.
Okay.
I know we're going long. Do we want to even get into the Convors? The Convories?
Yeah, we can talk about it real quick. It's fine.
Real quick.
We can.
So there's been a trend recently of Convors being involved in the Rebel series. They were also in the Clone Wars series somewhat, but not really explained or used. And they were just like background things.
I have more information about that.
Information for you.
I have more information about that, but you may continue.
But the Convors seem to always exist around Force things happening, and they're always just like there at it seems like a convenient time for a Convor to be there for whatever reason. And recently, Making Star Wars got information about supposedly some kind of creature is going to be on Ahch-To, on Luke's little island, that has sharp teeth or something like that. And there's the conversation is, could these be Convors? And then back in March of last year, Dave Filoni was being asked about convors and convorees, and he said, and in some ways I could say that it's a messenger, it's an observer, it is definitely something, and I would rather have fans debate, but I would suggest to say that whatever that thing is an avatar of has actually appeared in the animated Star Wars universe before. Which
Yes.
I think the conversation around that as well, at least my assumption with that is remember the Force planet they got sucked to in the Clone Wars series?
Yeah.
With the daughter and the son and the father? I think the Convors are an avatar of the daughter.
Really? She was the light side.
Yes, especially, and this is just because the color of the Convor that's always in Rebels is the same color scheme of the daughter from Clone Wars.
That's a good point.
That cream and beige and white, and that's
Kind of
my
like
thought.
the natural Force
Yes.
kind of colors. Yeah, biology.
But
or
he's
nature,
a messenger, like
That's interesting.
observer.
I went more literal with that, where I went back and watched. I watched every appearance of a Convor in something that we know, except for the newer Rebels episodes. I haven't watched any of those, but the first time it appears, it foreshadows. So it's this Clone War episode. I don't know if you remember the one with the Trandoshans.
Yeah.
Where the Trandoshans are hunting Ahsoka and 3 other Padawan. Do you remember that episode? I didn't before this.
Yes.
It's kind of buried in there.
I think so.
It was like season 3. But the first time these guys appeared, it shows 3 of them. Well, 2 on a branch, and one of them flies in and kind of like nuzzles into the other 2.
Yeah.
Later in that episode, one of the Padawans dies. So there are 3 Padawans left. Thought that was kind of interesting. So the second time it appears, it's 2 of them were on the shoulders of somebody in another episode, and in that episode, Ahsoka and I should mention the first time they appeared, Ahsoka obviously survives. One of the other Padawans dies, but Ahsoka survives. In the second appearance, 2 are on the shoulder, and Ahsoka and this one other Padawan are kind of instrumental in. Ahsoka gets rescued from Hondo and a bunch of pirates, and this one other one kind of plays a main role in that. So that's kind of 2 Padawans there.
Okay.
And then, and I put a picture of this up here. We can tweet it or whatever if you want to, but at the end of season 2 of Rebels, after Ahsoka fights Vader.
Yes.
You see a Convor?
Yeah.
Sitting on top of the temple as Vader walks out. This is the very end after, what's his name? Stupid Ezra and the other dude.
All that stuff.
Kanan,
happens, yeah.
After they get back to the ship. You see Vader walking out of the temple after that fight between him and Ahsoka, and there's a Convor sitting there watching Vader walk out, and he jumps up and flies away, and it kind of follows him into this mist, and you start to fly into this temple entrance, and you see Ahsoka walking into this temple.
Yes.
This is after the fight.
Yes.
Where
after she's supposedly dead.
Yes.
Which people are like, is she a
Is she
Force
dead?
ghost,
Yeah.
or is she not dead, or
Right.
what?
I would like to think that a Convor represents Ahsoka's spirit, but just because of those appearances alone, but maybe it's more what you're saying, where it's more just the light side of the Force.
Yes.
I don't know.
And I think this was what Making Star Wars was saying about it too, if I remember correctly, how or this was somewhere else I was reading, I can't recall it right now, but talking about as well as these like creatures that seem to be Force sensitive on Acto, do they have like, can you commune with them? Can you like communicate with them to glean Force information from them? Like, will Rey be able to like mind meld with them to like
Interesting.
learn history of the Force, or like learn anything about the Force from them? Or are they, like it said, or like Filoni was saying, they're like messengers or observers? Like, do they have like a hive mind? Have they just like learned all this Force information over time, and like you can learn history from them, or something? I thought it was very interesting, and they keep coming up, and now there's supposedly these creatures on Acto that are going to be there that may be important. And it
Interesting.
just could just be like, here's the native creatures that live on Acto and they have nothing to do with it. Look, they're penguins. Like, I mean, it could be nothing, but I think there's actually puffins on that
they're-
island naturally.
Penguins. Because
Space
Star
twins.
Wars. Because space. Penguins.
Penguins. Sounds like a fancy penguin. Oh, hello, these are my penguins.
Watch out for that flock of penguins.
Oh, excuse me, I have to go purchase some penguins.
They don't waddle. They kind of...
Jaunt. Yeah, but I think it's interesting, and I think it would be another cool crossover from the cartoons to the films if that is the case.
Yeah. That would be cool if it was.
If something
Because
good came out of Rebels.
I would be more... It's like we've talked about this before.
It's not for us. I think that's the problem.
Even going back and watching those Clone Wars episodes tonight before the show.
Clone Wars is great. I love
It's
Clone
so
Wars.
good. And the animation is incredible.
I just can't.
The story is so
can't
good.
click with Rebels, and I don't know why. I want to so bad, but I just...
You know why? We've
can't.
talked about this before. They keep shoving this stuff that we have to care about into the show.
Like, please keep watching. Here's important things you have to watch.
Exactly.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Like they're twisting your arm like, oh, you have to watch it now because this really matters.
Yeah. Like if Darth Maul wasn't still involved, would
It's
people
just really
still
frustrating.
watch it?
Even that, I don't know, man.
You're disgusted by all of it.
This show is just bad.
I don't care for it, but at least they are giving us information
It's canon,
in some other
I guess.
outlet. Anyways,
It's like shoving a crushed up vitamin in a cake. No, wait.
cakes are good.
That's the opposite. Sorry.
Shoving cake in a vitamin? Cake vitamins.
Coming soon.
Just
Cake
a pill
vitamin.
full of cake batter. Like, it's just like, why just taste the cake? Like, I want to eat cake, but I don't really want to taste the cake. So I take my one-a-day cakes. New from Pillsbury. Cake-a-mins.
One a day cake.
Vita cakes.
Do you find eating an entire cake too difficult?
Well, we freeze-dried an entire cake and put it in a pill. Just take that, and you'll be full for days on cake, you fatty.
I got it wrong.
I like the idea of cake pills. I think we've got something here.
Well, at least something good came out of that.
Yeah, sure. All right. So,
That's
as
it.
mentioned earlier, if you have questions, comments, fancy dances to teach us,
More
send them to Ask Lobot at
Indian food?
sure. Send emails to asklobot@hokeyreligion.com. You can really send any emails there. We'll get it.
That's Ask Lobot, not Ask Lobot.
That's-
Maybe everything's been going to Ask Lobot.
Maybe that's why we don't get emails.
Maybe we should register Ask Lobot.
I guess we have to now. If you enjoy the show, please go to iTunes or whatever outlet you listen to this on, and if it allows reviews, please leave one. That is helpful for us.
Let me say about iTunes real quick. iTunes is a big deal. Reviews are a big deal there. So
Yes.
please, if you're going to leave a review and you only have time for one, if it's review
If you have
time,
time for 5, go to anywhere that has reviews. We'd make a Yelp page for us and submit reviews on Yelp.
but if it's review hour and you only have time left for one review, go to iTunes.
I've done all these reviews today and only have time left for one.
Have we got
Where am I going to do
a deal
it?
for you?
iTunes, that's the answer. iTunes, do it there. If you really enjoy the show, past just leaving a review, please go to patreon.com/hokeyreligion. And thank you to Nathan, which may or may not be the same Nathan who sent us email questions, for being our first patron.
Pretty sure.
And contributing to the show.
Hey, if
That's awesome. So
I'm going
if-
to challenge this dude. If you're real, follow us on Twitter because you're not right now.
maybe he doesn't have Twitter. Maybe they don't.
Get Twitter and follow us.
Okay.
Be your only.
You only
What
follow.
am I trying to say?
The only follow. the
Let
only
us
follows
be your only
follow.
person.
Source of
What do you say?
Follow-tude.
How do you say it on Twitter?
The follows.
What?
Follows. Follows.
The follows?
We would be his only follow. He would follow us.
Is that
and
how
we
you
would-
say it?
I assume.
All right.
I got nothing else. So yes, thank you, Nathan, for being our first patron on
If you're-
Patreon. If
if
you
you're
were afraid
real.
of being the first patron, no longer be afraid. You can now go there and contribute to the show.
Hey, people! I mean, just even like it's just like $1 helps out.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you
like
can-
$1 a month.
You
I
can
mean,
do just $1 a month if you feel like it, and that's helpful. It would go towards the show and not towards popsicles, I swear. We're also on YouTube. If you,
are you buying that many popsicles?
I said it was $1 a month. How many popsicles can that provide?
But I mean, popsicles. That's your go-to thing for
Gotta
$1.
get the popsicles.
Really?
I'm a connoisseur of sickled pops.
Did you ever buy those?
Nope.
The big like nets of just
Yeah, the freezy pops,
plastic
like
juice.
the tubes of juice that you froze, and it was just like in a giant net, like someone caught it in a pond and
Like
threw it in a freezer. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we got those
It's like
from
frozen pond water.
Sam's Club or wherever. You can also find us on YouTube. We try every episode to record our recording session. So if you'd rather see us be stupid than
What?
hear us be stupid, then go
We
there.
always record our podcast. What are you talking
Record visually our
Oh.
podcast episode. If you want to watch our stupidity and not just hear our stupidity, you can do that there and leave thumbs ups and comments and
about? Whatever the hell these
subscribes. I don't
people are
YouTube
doing now.
things. And that's
Send us a
Follow
tweet.
us on Twitter at Hokey_religion, because we still can't have just Hokey Religion because Twitter and that guy won't respond.
That guy. Hopefully everyone knows about that guy by now.
That guy. We'll never speak his name again.
That guy.
Yeah, so go just follow us on Twitter. We have a Facebook page as well where you can like us. We post information there as well. And that is all I have.
You do. I don't do that.
Nope, I take
I don't have
care of
Facebook.
most of the social aspect of this because
Cause I
you-
can't stand it.
That's right.
I can't stand social media. I'm on Twitter every once in a while.
Sometimes.
I'll have these.
Sometimes you'll reply to something as soon as I reply to something, so the person is hella confused as to this person is insane.
And I
thank
forget to sign my tweets because I always forget to do that.
Yeah, thanks. It's helpful.
Sometimes I'll have these like bouts, these
Spouts
spurts,
of Twitter.
these spurts
I've
of
got the-
like,
I've got tweet bouts.
there's 3 tweets
Bouts of tweets.
that no one likes ever.
No one wants your tweets.
That's what sucks. You tweet all the
The helpful information. You're just like, popsicle dicks. And then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, why are they going crazy all of a sudden?
like my popsicle dick tweets. Come on. What's the deal?
Maybe you should have your own Twitter account for popsicle dicks.
I do. I tweet about popsicle dicks
Okay, you do that.
90% of the time
You do that.
on both accounts.
Okay. This
Or just sitting on my butt.
has been an episode of Hokey Religion.
Popsicle
I
dicks.
have nothing else. Are we good?
Popsicle dicks.
We're good.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. This is Tyler.
Bye.
And that was Michael. Goodbye.
Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon. Hokey Religion is an ancient weapon, so no magic for a good blast here at your side.
Make it so.
It sounds like a game show host.
Make it so.
Make it so.
Who's ready to make it so?
No one, Captain.
Contestant 1, are you ready to make it so?
Show me. Make it so.
Make it so. Yeah!
All right. Question number 1. If you were to make it so,
How would you make it so? I would make it so.
show me. Make it so.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
Yeah.
you hit a make it so. We are entering the make it so round. I'm sorry, contestant. You're going to have to now make it so.
All right,
We'll be
contestant, you
right
have-
back from these sponsors to make it so.
And we're back. All right, contestant number 1, you have
We're
15
back,
seconds
and
to
now
make it
it's time.
so.
Welcome back to Make It So.
You have 15 seconds to make it so, and your time starts now. Make it so. Make it so. Correct. Make it so. Question number 2. Make it so.
I think this is the dumbest thing we've ever come up with, ever.
I love this so much.
All of that's saved, right?
Why aren't we recording?
Is all of that recording?
We're recording, but it's not the real episode.
No, that's
Unless
going.
you wanna
That's
go in the
probably
episode.
going at the end.